So tonight is the night, the official livery reveal of the entire 2025 Formula 1 grid will be held tonight at London's O2 Arena. And in preparation for this here on the F1Chronicle.com, we wanted to look at some of the best liveries of all time. All the teams will be hoping that their liveries can live up to the hype and match some of these grades. Now, this is so difficult to pick because there's been so many iconic liveries in Formula 1 over the decades. So we've done our best. We've given our opinions. Here is mine at the end of the day, a top 5 of the best liveries in Formula 1 history of all time. I'm sure this won't be controversial at all, and I'm sure this won't cause any debate in the comments, but just in case it does, get your opinions in. Let's see what you have to say. But yeah, number 5, and it pains me to put this as number 5, but I've put number 5 as the John Player Lotus special livery that they had for years. They had this between 1972 and 1986. Of course, they were sponsored by that brand of particular tobacco. Unfortunately, some of the most iconic liveries in the history of Formula 1 do, of course, basically rolling cigarette packets, let's be honest. That's exactly what they were. But, you know, from a purely looks point of view, this is incredible. The black and gold livery is absolutely iconic. I love this colour combination. You can pick any of the cars from that time and just say that this was the best. I mean, there's so many iconic drivers, of course, who drove those cars. Mario Andretti, Ayrton Senna, Ronnie Peterson, just to name a few. Some incredible champions and guys who almost became champions as well. I mean, like I said, it's just iconic. You think of Formula 1 liveries, and this for me is absolutely up there. And yeah, a black and gold livery. It did make a comeback as well. Well, a black and gold livery made a comeback for the Lotus team between 2012 and I want to say 2015. They were on the grid for a little bit. Obviously, it was not JPS, but it was an homage to the black and gold livery because advertising was banned long before they made that comeback. But yeah, speaking of cigarette branding, Benson and Hedges Jordan liveries. Now, there's a few of them, of course. Now, I really like the Snake one from 1997, but I'm going to go with the Jordan 198, Bensons and Hornets, or whatever it was called in the tobacco banned advertising banned nations, of course. I do think this is really cool. And I'm giving it some props as well because it did manage to get Jordan's first ever win in Grand Prix racing at 1998 at Spa, a 1-2 finish for Damon Hill and Ralph Schumacher during that race. And this is iconic. I love this. I love the Hornet kind of yellow and black livery there, the little red eye on the front too. You know, I honestly think if the Snake livery was on this car rather than the previous year's car, I feel like that would make it better. I know that because the livery is also the car as well. It's not just the jacket, but it's also the model that's wearing the jacket, that who sells it, you know, who looks good at it at the end of the day. And I think this is a really, really cool one. There is some cool sponsorship there from MasterCard too. I think it just works really well. Fantastic livery and iconic for sure. Definitely one of Jordan's best in Formula 1 racing. And again, another one, mild 7. I mean, maybe it's because this is the era of Formula 1 that I grew up with, but the Renault livery for 2005, I mean, it was pretty much identical from about, 2002 to 2006. But I'm going to focus on the 05 one, the R25, just because at the end of the day, this was their first championship. Fernando Alonso winning his first Formula 1 championship as well, and a very iconic car too. I think the car from 2005 looks a bit better than the 2006 one, and it was also a V10 car as well, which does help from the audible point of view too. But yeah, a beautiful car. The Telefonica branding there as well, the yellow and blue. I'm sure some people nowadays might think it's a bit bold, a bit out there, but I absolutely love it, unapologetically. Absolutely love this car, and of course iconic for Fernando Alonso as well. Now, you guys know that I'm a McLaren fan. You know that I gotta get some amazing liveries in from McLaren. I do love the papaya that they've gone with these days, of course, but at the end of the day, the Vodafone silver and red one is just iconic at the end of the day. Not the only one I'm going to talk about here, though. There is another McLaren livery that does feature in this list too. But yeah, the one that I associate with Sir Lewis Hamilton making his Formula 1 debut, Fernando Alonso as well, driving for the team during this period, Heikki Kovalainen as well. But you know, they had the Vodafone McLaren chrome livery for a very long time. There's something about the chrome and the red of the Vodafone that just works. When they took it off the car for 2014, it wasn't the same. And I do like the previous one, the West one from 2000 and, oh my goodness, actually no, even before then, 1997 I think they had that on, all the way until 2006, or was it 2005? Anyway, around then. The one previous to this, that was also a chrome and or a silver and black livery, and that looked pretty good as well. I do love that one because, of course, Mick Hakkinen, one of my favourites of all time. He was probably the guy that got me into supporting McLaren so much back in the day. Just from that. But yeah, Hamilton driving this livery to his first World Championship in 2008. Still the last drivers' champion for McLaren in 2008 as well. They've won the constructors since then, of course. But yeah, this is an iconic livery. It looks fantastic. It really does. And I love the papaya livery now. That is great. But nothing for me. Again, the car definitely does help with this one, but nothing will ever top the McLaren MP4's livery. It is just iconic, and I know it is a rolling pack of cigarettes. Other brands are available, don't buy them, I'm not endorsing that, but every sponsor on here looks perfect as well. The cigarette branding, of course, there, the Honda as well, the Honda engine powering this car. For the longest time, this was the most successful car in the history of Formula 1 racing as well, winning every single round, bar one in 1988. The McLaren MP4, the Goodyear sponsoring, the Shell sponsoring, it just works. It all looks perfect. And of course, in that McLaren Senna helmet, the Senna helmet with the yellow, the green, and the blue. I mean, I'll tell you guys now, I got a tattoo of that helmet on me. It's an incredible helmet. It's just iconic. Senna, my favorite driver of all time as well. I'm biased with this. I don't care. I'm sure some people will disagree with this, but for me, it just looks incredible. Now, I will say one thing because I know people are going to definitely mention this. Where's Ferrari? Where is Ferrari in this? Ferrari always looks incredible. But the thing is with Ferrari, with its livery, it's always red. And I know the shades of red have changed over the years, unless you count the one back in the 1960s where they raced in blue and white for a very short period of time, I do believe. Might have been late 50s. But aside from that, they've always been a red livery. They always look incredible. They always look beautiful. But how do you pick the best Ferrari livery? How do you do it? Because there's so little variation. But, if I were to give a team the most iconic look in Formula 1, it is Ferrari. It has to be Ferrari. But if we're talking about a specific livery, the one that jumps out the most, to me, it's got to be the old school Marlboro McLaren livery, And if I have to choose one from that era, when they had it from mid-70s to mid-90s, and for about 20 years, you got to go with the MP4 for me. That car looks stunning. The last of the turbocharged monsters of the 1980s, the engineered insanity of that time period. It's got to be. But guys, what is your pick? This is such a subjective thing, and I'm sure some people will have some very different opinions to mine on this. But for me, maybe a bit of McLaren bias in there, maybe a bit of Senna bias in there, Hamilton bias. I don't care, right? This is just my opinion. We've all got our opinions at the end of the day, and that's what this is all about. This is an opinion-driven sport, and we've got a full article over on the F1Chronicle.com as well for you guys. Just going into even more detail about this. If you're on YouTube, the link to this will be in description as always, and yeah. We'll see you soon for some more content, of course, here on the F1Chronicle.com. If you want to get some more information about the events of tonight and what the plan is and everything, do head over to our Explain video, which will already be out or out at the same time as this one, around then, depending on the platform. But yeah, have a great day, you guys. Have a great evening. Let's hope for a great bunch of liveries being revealed tonight in London. I'm really looking forward to the event. Hope you guys are too. See you soon. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Have a great night.